Really quick, UnCloned insiders, it's time to go from unknown to uncloned. You got to have the UnCloned book bundle, the #1 book bundle in the marketplace to help you live an uncloned life and build an uncloned brand. All you have to do is head over to unclonedbb.com. That is unclonedbb.com. Until next time, let's go live an uncloned life and build an uncloned brand. Hey y'all, what's going on? Let me know if y'all can hear me, if the audio is good. Let me know in the chat. I am so excited about today's live stream, y'all. Like, I'm like a little kid right now. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so excited to have this conversation, y'all. So make sure you like the video if you're new here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because I already told y'all, I kind of gave you a little hint that I'm going to be going live more. And so this is why it's important for you to turn on your post notifications. If you are not a part of our community, make sure you head over to uncloned.group and join our community so you can always be notified. If you're on our email list, we just sent out an email, so you all are good to go. All right. We're going to be talking about failure today. Yes, I know. You know, when we think about failure, we kind of go, wah, 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 wah. But I promise you, at least I hope at the conclusion of this live stream that you can have a different relationship with failure. All right. So let me take a moment to introduce myself because we may have some people that's brand new here who like, girl, I don't know who you are. I got this email. Boom, here I am. Or maybe you were invited by a friend or a colleague. All right. So let me take a moment to introduce myself and then we're going to get into today's topic. All right. So my name is Audria Richmond. I am a brand and marketing strategist. I work directly with my clients to teach them how to build uncloned brands and launch profitable marketing campaigns. We are the brand that you come to when you want to become the obvious choice in your industry. All right. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining me. Before I get into my notes, because I took some notes, yesterday I worked in my content planner. All right. And I some people yesterday was like, hey, you know, how do I get access to the content planner? It's in the shop. Okay. So if you go to uncloned.shop and look in the shop, you will be able to find it. All right. So just know that the uncloned content planner, as well as the course, is inside of the inside of our shop at uncloned.shop. All right. So just want to let you all know that before we get into that. But I first want to kind of set up this live stream by telling a story, right? So what made me want to talk about this is, before we get into this, how many of you all are familiar with John C. Maxwell? Okay, he's a leadership guru. He's been around as long as double the time I've been on this planet. And he's really known for leadership, right? He got the 21 laws of infutable, I think it's 21 infutable laws of leadership. He has 16 laws of effective communication, et cetera, right? He's a leadership buff. Okay. I recently invested in a course, and inside of this course was a keynote where he was one of the guest speakers, and he was there. And I remember when he first came onto the video, I'm like, oh, he's about to teach us how to, build it. Cause that was the name of the video. It's kind of like how to build a big team. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the perfect video for me. So I go inside the portal, I'm playing the video, and he opens up with this statement. And he says, I'm gonna show you how to get an ROI on failure. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? How can you get a return on failure, right? And when I break this down, it'll all make sense. All right. And so he first introduced this framework. Okay. And so again, this is John C. Maxwell. I'm reading I went on and got his book called Failing Forward. Okay. So if you're one of those people who like, hey, I have a horrible relationship with failure, I really want to master failure, I do not want failure to hold me hostage, right? Because this is the thing. Everybody have a different relationship with failure, right? Like the things that I may consider a fail is, you may not consider it a failure, right? And the things that you consider a failure, I might think it's an excuse and it's not failure. Does this make sense? So like failure is really the eye of the beholder. So again, you really want to start to begin to think about this. So anyway, the name of the book is called Failing Forward, Turning Mistakes into Stepping Stones for Success. So it's by John C. Maxwell. I already have it bookmarked, and so far so good. It's a really, really, really great book. But anywho, there's in his talk, he talked about this 5-step framework that him and his team go through every time. It's basically like, think of it like a cycle. Okay. So every time you like start a new project, you go through this cycle. And sometimes your projects will be successful, sometimes your projects will fail, right? And so one of the things that he talked about pretty deeply is his framework. And when he broke this framework down, y'all, it was just so freeing to me, because when he was breaking down the framework, I was like, ooh, this is perfect. Like, I really like the idea of this, right? And so let me talk about the framework really quick. So because I took notes in my phone. All right. So the first part of the framework is testing. I think a lot of the times, a reason a lot of people don't launch anything or put anything out into the world, because they fear the possibility of failure, right? Be honest. How many of you all in the chat? Let me know in the chat if you're watching this live with me. Let me know in the chat if you have you did not, you basically you delayed putting a project out because you thought it would fail, right? Like, oh, I don't really know if it's going to work or not, and so you do nothing. That's not the plan. And I tell you all the time that like marketing is nothing but a big test, right? If you can master testing, right, you'll be good to go. I got to make sure my hair looking good. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but testing is something that a lot of people don't want to do, because there's a possibility that it could pop and go great, and it's a possibility that it could fail, right? And so you doing nothing does nothing, right? You not putting anything out there, you will never know the answer. You will never know if it will work. You will never know if it was good or bad. Does it make sense? Because you've never tested it. You never put it out because you were afraid to fail, okay? So I need you all to know that like that failure is inevitable. And this was a bar that he talked about during his talk. He talked about how failure and success actually go together. And I know y'all, trust me, when I first was listening to this, I was like, this is crazy, right? But it makes so much sense. He said one of the reasons that people have such a horrible relationship with failure is because we're always being taught to avoid failure, right? Think about it. He said the reason why we always have such a this really tough relationship with failure is because we're always taught to like, don't fail, be successful, and so on and so forth. And that's not really realistic. Failure is a part of success, right? As someone who has been in business 17 years, I can tell you that failure is a part of the process. But oh my God, this live stream gonna be so good. I can just, how you have like a best hit, like a bestseller. Like I feel like this is gonna be the best live, right? Because I'm gonna talk about I came up with a framework after listening to his talk that I really kind of went back down memory lane for the past 17 years. And I realized that I have these 4 levels of failure to have a breakthrough. So I'm gonna cover that with you, but I want to kind of set up this live stream first. All right. So he talked about how failure and success should not be separate, right? Because when you put them together, it kind of make it more realistic, right? There's a possibility that what you're going to be working on is going to be successful, and there's a possibility that what you're going to be working on could be a failure. And sometimes people don't do nothing because they don't want to fail. Okay. So that was the first part of his framework. So that you got to test. You got to put it out there. You got to take your idea and put it out into the world, whatever it is. And you got to be able to allow it to grow, or you got to allow it to fail. Because if you don't never even put it out, you won't even go through the rest of this framework. All right. The second part of his framework is fail. So they first test, and then they actually have failure as a part of the framework. So if it fails, then they say, okay, well, what do we learn? What do we learn from this failure? So that's the third part of the framework. Then he talks about improving. So now that you're learning why it failed, how do you plan to improve? How do you, if you're a part of the UnCloned Launch Circle, we talk about this in great detail with the framework for launching, right? It's pretty a similar process, right? But this is the part that really got me excited, because once I understood this one key component, it made sense, because I realized that I was staying in cycles of failure way too long. And that's another thing to really think about, like, how fast are you going through this cycle? So the last part of this framework is re-entering. And a lot of people will never re-enter into something that they deem as a failure. And this is what separates the people who are uber successful from those who are not successful. The people who fail, who deem it as a failure, who don't learn from it, who don't approve upon it, will never re-enter. And the people who have more reps, tons of success, understands this framework. You test, you fail, you learn, you improve, you re-enter. And so when he broke down that framework, y'all, I was like, this is gold. This is so good. I was like at the edge of my seat watching this video, because when he broke it down, it makes it so clear. And he said that when you go through this framework, the faster you go through it, the more successful you can become, because you understand that failure is a part of the process. Ain't that good, y'all? I mean, I was just like, ooh, this is so good. I was like, ooh, this is so good. I hope this is landing on you all like he landed on me. So he said the reason that they are able to grow the John C. Maxwell company so big and really, really vast is because they understand these principles. He said when we put our ideas out in the world, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a launch, it could be a new book, it could be an event, it could be a new product, it could be a service. Like whatever it is, we understand that failure is inevitable. Does this make sense? I really do hope y'all getting this. All right. And so again, just to recap the framework, and then I'm gonna get into my key talking points. So again, he said you got to test, fail, learn, improve, re-enter. And again, and this is the part I really need y'all to get. If you quit and never re-enter, you will never ever see what it means to be successful, because you're easily defeated. Okay? You're easily defeated. And this could look like, man, I made a post on Instagram and no one liked it. And you may see that as a failure and never post on Instagram again. Or you could post on Instagram and say, oh, that one didn't get any traction. Let me look at it. It didn't get any traction. I wonder why. Let me start looking at it. Was my messaging good? Am I talking to the right audience? You could begin to start analyzing it a little bit, right? And then you learn. You're like, okay, I'm learning. Okay, let me improve it. The next time I make this post, I'm going to do this, and this. And then you repost. Right? You re-enter, which is a part of the framework. And if you understand this, it can change everything for you. Okay? All right. So that's what I learned from John C. Maxwell. Again, if you want to dive deep into his book, called Failing Forward. Make sure you check that out. It's such a great read. I'm still kind of reading it. I plan to finish this book this week. Y'all already know I love reading. And I think at the time of this recording, as of today, Audible has like a 85% off sale. So if you want to go get the book, there you have it. All right. Now let's pivot into what I want to talk about, right? Which is the 4 levels of failure that you have to break through. Because I understand that to me, there's levels of failure, right? I feel like there's easy failures and then there's like super hard failures, right? And as someone who has had baby failures and massive failures, I can speak to this very extensively, right? And so I'm going to go over the 4 levels of failure that you have to break through, okay? And let me say this. If you do not break through these 4 levels of failure, you will never be successful. Let me say this again. Okay. I wrote this down. I literally just finished typing this up. As soon as I finished typing this up, I was like, I'm about to go live, right? Because I need my people to know this. Okay. Because if we're out here building an UnCloned brand and making sure that we're the obvious choice, we need to make sure that we're ready, right? So again, I'm going to go over the 4 levels of failure to have a breakthrough, and understand this. If you do not master these breakthroughs, you will fail. Okay. So before we get into that, I do want to play our new commercial for UnCloned Brand Live. So I'll see you in a moment. Listen up, because this ad is only for those who are ready to become the obvious choice in their industry. Join me July 18th through the 20th, 2025 for UnCloned Brand Live. This conference is designed exclusively for innovators and history makers who is sick and tired of blending in, copying and pasting boring, outdated strategies and want a proven framework for building a brand that is the obvious choice. Head over to www.uncloned.live to grab your tickets now. Alrighty. Y'all, okay, before I get into these 4 levels of failure, can we talk about that commercial? I literally whipped that up maybe 20 minutes ago. Okay, I recorded the audio and then I went and got me some music and then I recorded the sales page a little bit and then I added a little end card for the ad and then pow, right? We got the UnCloned Brand Live ad. So anywho, I just wanted to say that because anyway, for those who are like, how did she do that? I just gave you the little hack. All right. So anyway, let's get into these 4 levels of failure, right? So the first level of failure that you have to break through is getting over yourself. Okay. The first level of failure that you have to break through. I already know I'm cooking. My energy is so high right now. Like I could do a backflip. But anyway, the first level of failure that you have to break through is getting over yourself. Let me repeat that. I don't want that to go over your head. The first level of failure that you have to break through is getting over yourself. So what does this look like? This looks like personal insecurities. This looks like fear, being afraid to do things. This looks like negative emotions. Like, oh, this is not going to work. This will never work for me. At this level, you have to build the courage to put yourself out there. This looks like going live. This looks like creating content. This looks like engaging in communities. It looks like buying a ticket and going to events and putting yourselves in different rooms. It looks like creating your platform and building a stage for yourself, right? Because if you don't get over yourself, you'll never get to level 2, 3, or 4. I got 4 levels. That's level 1. So again, level 1 is getting over yourself. Okay. I see so many people stuck in this stage. They always negative. Okay. They never see the good in anything. It's just like always negative, always negative, always negative. Or you're one of those people who beat up on yourself. I'm ugly. My hair ain't right. I don't speak well. Whatever the hell your excuse is, right? If you do not learn how to get over yourself, you will never have the courage to put yourself out there. So that's level 1. All right. Level 2 is people. Okay. You're going to be dealing with people. Okay. And the reason that I put people as a level of failure that you got to break through, it's because you got to learn how to deal with people who don't like you. Sometimes we won't even show up because we don't want to deal with the haters. We don't want to deal with people having something negative say. We don't want to deal with someone not inviting us. We don't want to deal with not being liked. We don't want to deal with oh, they not including me. And a lot of the times at this level, you're thinking so much about people. You're thinking about how they see you, how they look at you, how they treat you, how they acting towards you. It's like your emotional state is so wrapped up in how people treat you that you get lost in all of it. Okay. And at this level, and this is so important, and I need you to hear me, like, come closer. Okay. Come closer. At this level, okay, let me say this. At this level, you can't give a damn about what people think about you. Okay. Let me say this again. At this level, you can't give a damn about how people think about you. This is so important, y'all. And if you don't get this, I promise you, you will never see success. So let me recap. Number one is getting over yourself, which means you got to deal with your personal insecurities. You got to deal with the fear. You got to deal with the negative talk and the negative emotions you have. And at that level, like I told you, you have to build the courage to put yourself out there. At level 2, you're going to be dealing with people, right? At level 2, you're going to be dealing with people. How are you dealing with people? Because people begin to start hating on you, all right? You know, people are not going to like you. People are not going to invite you. People are not going to include you. And at this level, you can't give a damn about what people think about you. Is this good, y'all? I really do hope y'all getting this. Because if you don't get this, it's going to be extremely hard for you to break through these different levels to see the levels of success. And how many of you all are starting to see yourself in this process like, dang, I need to get over myself, and I need to build the courage, and I need to put myself out there, because if I don't put myself out there, I will never see the level of successes that I want to see, right? And then with the people part, like, oh, okay, I got over putting myself out there, but then somebody leave a negative comment and now you don't want to ever create video again. Or someone say they don't like you, or don't like the way you talk, or they don't like the way you dress, or they don't like the way how you carry yourself, or they don't like how you smell, or whatever the hell, right? You know, it could be any little thing. It's like, oh, she didn't speak to me at the event, so I'm never going to events again. Like, if you don't master people and the nastiness of people, especially in this time where every damn thing online is so freaking negative, if you cannot master people, it will destroy you, and you will never get to these next 2 levels of success. So before we get to these next 2 levels of success, let me know your biggest takeaway so far, and I'm going to play this ad one more time. Listen up, because this ad is only for those who are ready to become the obvious choice in their industry. Join me July 18th through the 20th, 2025 for UnCloned Brand Live. This conference is designed exclusively for innovators and history makers who is sick and tired of blending in, copying and pasting boring, outdated strategies and want a proven framework for building a brand that is the obvious choice. Head over to www.uncloned.live to grab your tickets now. Yes, I love what you all are saying in the chat. Okay, look at this. Hey, Tangeray, she said getting over yourself, right? Getting over yourself. That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think a lot of the times people really underestimate these things and how it shows up. And the reason that I started to give you all things to think through, because I want you to be able to pinpoint exactly which one of these levels is keeping you stuck and keeping you from being successful. Nayo, hopefully I'm saying it correct. Get over yourself and get out there and fail. Absolutely. Let's see. Sonia, she said, don't let negative thoughts stop me or people not liking me. Absolutely. This is so important, y'all. And when you understand this, it changes the game. It changes the game. Okay. All right. So the next level, this one, these next 2 levels, they're a little bit harder. Okay. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like level one, getting over yourself, is actually pretty easy because you really got to start changing your emotional state. You have to change the words that you use. You have to stop being so negative. You have to start being positive, and you have to know that you are more than ready today. Not next week, not next Friday, you got to know that you're more than ready today, right? And so level one, I believe, if I had to kind of rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as hard is concerned, I really feel like level one is like a 2. Okay. I really do feel like level one is a 2. I feel like level 2 is like a 5. Because when people are all in your shit and they're all in your business and they're talking crazy and all of the things, it can really take a toll on you. And it can make you be afraid to show up, right? And so number 3, right? Level 3 is visibility and status. All right. Visibility and status. Oh, now this one, we're getting a little bit more strategic. All right. So at this stage, you have all eyes on you. Okay. Now people are starting to pay attention to you. They're like, "Ooh, do you know such and such?" Like, your names are starting to be mentioned in different rooms, and like people are starting to ask around and be like, "Hey, do you know such and such?" People are starting to refer you to their friends and stuff. Girl, you should go and check out blah blah blah. Right? Like, all eyes on you. People start forming an opinion of you, and sometimes that opinion can be good or it can be bad. But nevertheless, people will begin to have an opinion about you. How many times have you all seen someone who, overall, let's just say if we had to do like 100%, 80% of the people love them and 20% hate them, right? And you see this all the time, like on social media or whatever, when you seeing people in the news or whatever the case may be, you can see it directly. Like, if you really have a very positive experience with someone and you really like them, you would be a little bit more lenient with that person versus the people you don't like. You don't listen to them, you don't watch their content, you don't check for them. If you see they shit, you keep scrolling. Like, again, people begin to start forming an opinion about you. All right. The next one is, at this stage, you are now starting to establish authority and credibility, right? People are starting to really categorize you and know you for something. You're getting known for something. Your name is building authority and credibility. The next thing, you are starting to establish an audience, right? Like a little family of people who absolutely love every single thing that you do. They love how you show up. They love how you speak. They love how you articulate things. They're on your email list. They're buying your products and services. They're engaging in your community. You are beginning to build an audience, right? And people trust that you can help them. The next thing is, you need to know this, and this is so important. You have to have a level of confidence that demonstrate that you know that you're the bomb.com. And I think a lot of the times people kind of confuse confidence and arrogance a lot. You being confident in your skill sets, what you bring to the table, and how you show up in the world, you're going to need that at the visibility and status stage, because now you're being compared and people are starting to make their buying decisions on whether or not they're going to work with you or your competitor. And so it's very important that you establish confidence, because if you don't establish confidence and you're walking around like, "Oh, okay, thank you for that nice thing," and you start being dismissive instead of taking that in and using it as a power source, you need to know that when people say awesome things about you and it's reaffirmed through your sales, through people engaging with you and interacting with you, you need to be able to take that energy and turn it into confidence and get yourself a power boost. Does this make sense, everybody? Just put yes in the chat. Because if you don't understand this, if you don't walk around without a shadow of a doubt that you are the bomb.com, anything will crumble you. Right? And this is another thing. You could easily go from this visibility and status stage back to level 1 and start shrinking and hiding. I did that. Right? That's why I can speak to this, because I went through one. Okay, so, this is so good. When I first got started online, I had to do level 1, right? I had to get over myself and start creating content and start creating videos and start putting myself out there, right? So that was level 1. Then level 2, I had to deal with the haters. And then I had to deal with the people who didn't like me. And I had to deal with not being invited. And I had to deal with not being included. And this is something that I forgot to tell you at the level 2, right? At level 2, I already said you can't give a damn about what people don't think. So I already said that. But I want to add to that. You need to be okay with building your own table and your own platform. Okay? You need to be okay with building your own table and your own platform. Because when you have your own table and your own platform, you don't give a damn about being included. Does this make sense? Like, the only people who have some kind of feeling about not being included, not being invited, not being liked is because they are refusing to build their table and build their platform. I hope this is making sense. Because if you get this, oh my God, like, this is going to be a game changer for you. Now, remember, I said you can go through these levels, but then you can revert back to a level when you deal with a challenge. That's why I started talking about failure and how you have to fall in love with failure. And the quicker you can deal with that, the quicker you can get over yourself, the quicker you can deal with the people, the quicker you can get back to your visibility and status, right? And so the reason why I said you can slip back into level 1 is because you can have something traumatic happen and then you got to get over yourself all over again. So for instance, when my mother died, I had to build up the courage to get over what I was feeling. Like, oh, how am I supposed to like be in this world without a mother, right? And then I stopped showing up. I stopped creating content because I was redefining myself. I was reinventing myself. And because I was like shedding old identity and had to step into a new identity, I had to start the process all over again. Now, the beauty in having your visibility established, once you establish it, that's cool. But sometimes if you slip back for too long, you can lose yourself again. I really do hope you get this. Okay. All right. So again, now we're still on level 3, which is visibility and status. All right. This is another thing. You have to master being visible and own the rooms that you go into. This means when you show up to the conferences, when you show up to the events, you cannot be shrinking and hiding. Like, oh my God, I want to talk to nobody. Don't talk to me. Or like you go to a conference and you walking fast because you don't want nobody to say nothing to you. Right. It's like, girl, you came to this event to network and meet people. Why the hell are you hiding in the corner eating a donut? You know what I mean? Like, go and meet people and own the rooms that you go in. Every time I go to the conferences and I dress up, I look good as hell. I smell good. My hair is good. And I'm owning the room. I'm walking in the room like I own this bitch because I understand my power. I understand my contribution to this space, right? And so it is so important. Okay. Now, at this level, listen to me. Come here. Listen to me. At this level, you have to master your positioning. This is so important. And I need you to hear me. Okay. Because I'm giving you boss moves right now. You got to level, you got to master, you got to level up and you got to master your positioning. Let me tell you what this looks like. How you treat and see yourself will determine the rooms and spaces that you show up in. Okay? Let me say that again for the people in the back. How you treat yourself and how you see yourself will determine the rooms that you feel like you deserve to be in. Some people like to play in lower level rooms because they know they can dominate. But they're afraid to go into the higher level rooms because they know they got to elevate. I hope y'all get this. I'm cooking right now. I hope y'all get this. Because if you get this, this is going to change the game for you. All right? Now, listen to this. The rooms that you show up in will also tell people how to move and think about you. Let me say this again. The rooms that you show up in will tell people how you move and how you think. Let me give you an example. If I'm trying to go to a particular event, right? Like I'm thinking about a particular event. The first thing I'm looking at is the speakers. The second thing I'm looking at is the pricing. The third thing I'm looking at is the location. The fourth thing I'm looking at is the content. And then the fifth thing I'm looking at is the leader. Who's running this event? Do I want to attach my brand, my reputation, and who I am to this conference leader? Because if I don't, I'm not buying a ticket. Because when I show up in a room, when I show up with my positioning, when I show up and own this joint, I need people to know that I made a good decision because I'm in a dope room with a dope leader. Do y'all get this? Because if you get this, this will help you with your positioning. Okay? So that's level 3. Okay, that's level 3. Now, level 4 is money. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about money. All right? We got to talk about money. Your relationship with money will tell you everything about you. How you think about money, how you spend money, how you use money, and how you position money in your life, right? So money unlocks new levels of access, conversations, and wealth. Okay? Money unlocks new levels of access, conversations, and wealth. Okay? At this level, you have options. Okay? When you got money, you got options. When you got money, you can master your desires, right? You know, I remember as soon as we started making money, it was important for me to fly first class because it was a representation of how I saw myself, right? Because sometimes I see people and they're like, they got the money for first class, but because they don't see themselves as a first class person, they sit in the back. I hope y'all getting that. And I hope you clock that. All right. At this level, right, you have to understand that you are now invited to new levels of investing in yourself and in your business, right? You have to know that every investment that you make will not always yield a return. And this is what gets people in that loop of failure, because let's say they signed up for a program and it didn't do what they thought it was going to do. Or they bought something that didn't yield the return that they thought. And because they're so engulfed in their negative emotions about it, that they missed the lesson. Let me tell you something. Every time you fail at anything that you deem as a failure, you will have a lesson. Let me say that again. Everything, okay, that you deem as a failure, and if you cannot dissect a lesson from that failure, you will always stay stuck. You have to understand that every time you make an investment, you will not always have a return, but you will always have a lesson. You may not always have a return, but you will always have a lesson. And what you do with that lesson will determine what you do next. Okay? Now, before I finish up, make sure you go ahead and drop your questions in the chat if you have any questions. And then I'm going to go over this next talking point. I'm going to play my little ad again. And then hopefully by that time we can end the live or we can answer questions. But there is a significant delay between you and I. So if you have any questions, please start putting them in the chat now. Do not wait till the last minute because I won't see it. So you got to go ahead and put those questions in the chat right now if you want to do that. So level 4 is money. Okay. At this level, you have to master your relationship with money and not allow money to block your decision making to unlock your next level. Let me repeat that again. At this level, you have to master your relationship with money, because if you don't master your relationship with money, it's going to block your inability to make decisions that will unlock new levels for you. So look at it like this, like, for instance, let's use UnCloned Brand Live. Oh my God, the tickets are so high. Girl, bye. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You want to know how I know it's not? Because I done spent $10,000 on conference tickets. I done spent $5,000 on conference tickets. I done spent $2,500 on conference tickets. I done spent $1,500 on conference tickets. I done spent $500 on conference tickets. I done spent a shit ton of money on tickets. Okay? So if you think our little measly couple $100 is too much for UnCloned Brand Live, you can't play the game. You can't play the game, because if you're stuck on $200, right? Think about this. I need y'all to catch this. If you're thinking about $200 and you're trying to make $1 million and you can't even make a decision on spending $200, but you want to make $1 million, something is out of whack. Wouldn't you agree? So let me recap these 4 levels again. Level 1 is getting over yourself. Level 2 is dealing with people. Level 3 is visibility and status. And level 4 is money. So I'm going to play our little commercial again, and then I'm going to answer any questions that I see in the comments. So go ahead and put your questions in right now, and I will see you in a moment. Listen up, because this ad is only for those who are ready to become the obvious choice in their industry. Join me July 18th through the 20th, 2025 for UnCloned Brand Live. This conference is designed exclusively for innovators and history makers who is sick and tired of blending in, copying and pasting boring, outdated strategies and want a proven framework for building a brand that is the obvious choice. Head over to www.uncloned.live to grab your tickets now. Oh, I was look. I love music that I can bop to, get into the groove, and like get it going. So anyway, I do see that we have a question. So let's pop that question up here. All right. So Sonia asks, "How do you establish authority when no one knows you and you have few clients?" One is change your mindset. Okay, that's the first thing. I want to help you understand some of the negative words that you have here. You may think that like, oh, this is just a simple question, but no, I need to help you establish some of the negative words. Okay. So you said, how do you establish authority when no one knows you and have few clients? See, you are thinking that because you have few clients that you can't establish authority and credibility. That's what you're thinking. Well, let me help you. The best way to start building authority and credibility is to get going with putting yourself out there. Some of the questions you can ask yourself is, how often are you going live? Right? Do you use live streaming? Are you live streaming on any of these platforms? Are you creating content? Right? Are you making reels? Are you making shorts? Are you making Facebook posts? Like there's tons of things you can do. And if you haven't already, I'm trying to find where my book is. I can't find it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Boom. If you haven't gotten this book yet, or my first book, I would start with that. And if you have these books, what are you doing? Have you read them? Are you applying them? Okay. So get the book bundle. You can head over and get that with the UnCloned bb.com. So let me play the little book commercial again for those who might want to grab the book bundle. All right. So let me find that real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Really quick, UnCloned insiders, it's time to go from unknown to uncloned. You got to have the UnCloned book bundle, the #1 book bundle in the marketplace to help you live an uncloned life and build an uncloned brand. All you have to do is head over to unclonedbb.com. That is unclonedbb.com. Until next time, let's go live an uncloned life and build an uncloned brand. Alrighty, so you said that you have my books. Again, are you applying them though? You can have my books all day. You can read them, you can highlight them. But are you applying what I'm saying in the books? Reading and applying is two different things. Having and doing is two different things. So if you have my books and you are not applying my books, then you won't see the success, right? But you in my book, Are You Ready for the Yes? I go into great detail about how to build your personal brand, like how to put yourself out there. So if you want the blueprint for establishing authority and credibility, read Are You Ready for the Yes, which is my first book. All right. Okay. So your next question, Sonia asks, when I'm at a gala event, how do I own the room when I'm not a guest speaker? I'm also not a crowd person. So again, negative. I'm not a crowd person. It's like you're canceling yourself before you build yourself. Let me help you out. When you go into the room, regardless if you are a speaker or not, you can still own the room. It's all about your aura, right? Your aura, your energy. How do you see yourself? Your self-concept, right? So how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as someone that's like amazing, brilliant, deserve to be there? That's going to determine how you show up in the room. But if you're in the room and you like, oh, I shouldn't be here, I'm not a speaker, you know, I'm kind of scared. Like that's going to people can feel it. Okay, people can feel when you're confident, and people can feel when you are afraid. This is why level 1 is getting over yourself. What do you need to do in order to establish a positive concept of yourself so when you do show up into these rooms, you're more confident? This could look like, I need to make sure my hair is done. I need to make sure my nails are done. I need to make sure my eyebrows are arched. I need to make sure I wear clothes that's flattering, that doesn't make me feel insecure. This looks, if I want to be visible, then maybe I don't need to buy a general admission ticket. I need to buy a VIP ticket. I need to sit in the front of the room, not in the back of the room. It's all about how you see yourself. So you do not have to be the guest speaker in order to be acknowledged in owning the room. How you see the room and how you see yourself in that room will determine if you believe that you deserve to be there or you shouldn't be there. Okay. So that's more of a confidence thing more than anything. All right. So Miss Bolden asks, how do you handle the feeling of rejection? So rejection is real, y'all. There's a book called Rejection Proof, but the way you deal with rejection is just going through it. and not sitting in it. It's very similar to the framework of like going through that failure, right? So once you get rejected, why did you get rejected? Is it because of that person, or is it because of how did you self-sabotage it and cause the rejection? So that's something to think about. But the book that I recommend that will nail any type of rejection that you're feeling is a book called Rejection Proof. It's such an amazing book. So I would totally grab that book. Thank you so much for your question. All right. So Nayo, I think I'm saying your name right. I always be like, I hope I'm saying your name right. So you said, what do you say to yourself when you want to shrink and not show up and being visible? I'm having a hard time with owning the next level. So showing up is, again, you got to do your inner work, right? Think about it. Think about it like this. You can't show up and own the room if you don't even believe you should be there, right? Like, you have to begin to do that inner work. So, because look at it like this. This is why, let me go back to level one. Level one is getting over yourself. And the first thing I said is personal insecurities. What are you insecure about? Are you insecure about how you look? Begin to edify yourself with positive affirmations. Do you not like the way you look in your clothes? Wear different type of clothes that make you look fly. There's women from very tiny all the way up to plus size who can look fly as hell because they have to dress according to their size. And so if you don't like your size, or you don't like your weight, or whatever the case may be, find some clothes that make you look fly and edify how you feel about yourself. The next thing I said is negative emotions. What are you saying to yourself? Whenever I have a negative emotion, and I promise y'all, I'm working on the same thing I'm telling y'all. I'm not telling y'all, look at this. I'm not no damn unicorn. I have not mastered every single thing. And I can't honestly sit here and say that I don't slip back to level one. I was feeling like level one yesterday with my husband. You're going to navigate through these things, but it's how you conquer and get through it that will tell you everything that you need to know. So when we talk about insecurity and like putting ourselves out there, all of that plays a role in everything. And if you like, oh, again, if you believe that you deserve to be in the room, you will show up in the room. If you don't think you're supposed to be there, you won't show up. So I hope that's helpful. All right. So mindset shift. Let's see. I gotta read. It's been a while. Absolutely. Thank you. Great advice. I'll work on this. That's right. LOL. Okay, perfect. I really do pray that today's live stream was amazing because I enjoyed myself recording this. So until next time, y'all, let's go live an uncloned life and build an uncloned brand. Bye, y'all.